She bragged, "Let's be honest, you need me more than I need you. So if you don't behave properly, I will replace you." I said nothing. Next day, I canceled her phone, car payment, health insurance, everything under my name. She called from a friend's phone, panicking. I said, "Find your replacement," and hung up. I'm sitting in my new place right now, and it's dead quiet. Like actually quiet for the first time in 3 years. There's no reality TV blasting at maximum volume every night. No Kardashians screaming through the surround sound system at 11 p.m. No pile of shopping bags creating a maze in the hallway that I have to navigate just to get to my own kitchen. No tension so thick you could slice through it. No walking on eggshells wondering what mood I'm about to walk into when I get home from work. For the first time in 3 solid years, my bank account is actually growing instead of hemorrhaging money like I severed an artery. My resting heart rate has dropped about 10 beats per minute, according to my fitness watch. My blood pressure is probably back to normal for the first time since I was 25. I sleep through the night now. All 8 hours. I wake up without that knot in my stomach. I don't check my bank account first thing every morning, with that sinking feeling of dread, wondering what got charged overnight while I was sleeping. But to explain how I got here, and the absolute scorched earth campaign I had to execute to achieve this level of peace and sanity, you need to understand the complete dynamic between me, 29-year-old guy who thought he had his life figured out, and my ex-girlfriend. Let's call her Natalie, 27 years old, professional freeloader with a minor in emotional manipulation. I'm a senior accountant at a solid firm downtown. Corporate clients, tax planning, financial audits, quarterly reports, the whole professional package. I do well for myself. I'm not buying yachts or private islands, but I make the kind of money where you don't really stress about the electric bill, or whether you can spring for the name brand peanut butter instead of generic. I clear about $130,000 a year before bonuses. In this city, that puts you solidly in comfortable territory. Not rich, not struggling, just comfortable with room to save. I grew up with absolutely nothing. Like genuinely nothing. Food stamps and powdered milk, nothing. Government cheese and hand-me-down clothes from the church donation bin, nothing. I wore shoes with actual holes in them until I was 12 years old. I can still remember my mom crying over bills at the kitchen table more times than I can count, crying because she had to choose between paying the electric bill or buying groceries. So financial security isn't just important to me now. It's basically hardwired into my DNA at this point. It's my entire personality. When I care about someone, when I actually love someone, I want to make their life easier. I want to remove obstacles from their path. I want to take weight off their shoulders. I want them to never feel the financial stress and fear I felt growing up. That was my love language with her. Turns out that was also my fatal flaw. Natalie was what you might call decorative. That sounds harsh when I say it out loud, but looking back with clear eyes and zero emotional attachment, I realized that's exactly how she viewed herself, her entire identity and self-worth. She was an aspiring lifestyle influencer. You know the exact type I'm talking about. In practice, that meant she posted carefully filtered and edited photos of the dinners I bought, the vacations I paid for in full, the apartment I rented, the clothes I financed, and the entire lifestyle I funded. All captioned with generic garbage like #bossbabe, or #self-made, or #blessed, or my personal favorite that made me want to throw my phone, #earned not given. The irony was apparently completely lost on her. She had earned exactly nothing. I had given her everything she had. Her entire content strategy was basically just documenting my money being spent in real time. Flat lay photos of the brunch I paid for, outfit of the day posts featuring items purchased entirely on my credit card, sunset photos taken from the balcony of the apartment I rented and paid for monthly, inspirational quotes about being a strong, independent woman overlaid on pictures taken in the Mercedes C-Class I leased under my name. It would have been funny and ironic if it wasn't so incredibly expensive month after month. I didn't mind at first. I swear I didn't. I actually loved her deeply in the beginning. She was genuinely magnetic. When she walked into a room, people noticed immediately. Men and women both. When things were good between us, and they were legitimately good for the first year and a half, she made me feel like I had won the actual lottery. Like I was the luckiest guy alive. Like I had somehow hit the jackpot. I fell into the provider trap hard and fast. No hesitation. I took genuine pride in paying for absolutely everything. It made me feel needed. It made me feel valued. It made me feel like a real man taking care of his woman, which was exactly how I was raised to think relationships should work. I covered the full rent on our luxury 2-bedroom apartment downtown. $3,200 a month. Hardwood floors throughout. Granite countertops in the kitchen. Floor-to-ceiling windows with an actual city view. Stainless steel appliances. The whole upscale urban living package. I put her on my premium health insurance plan through my company because she had none of her own. No job obviously means no benefits package. When her old beat-up Honda finally died after racking up 200,000 miles, I didn't just help her fix it or find another used car. That would have been the smart move, the reasonable adult move. Instead, I went ahead and leased her a brand new Mercedes C-Class because she said, and I quote her exact words here, "I need it for my image as an influencer. People won't take me seriously if I'm pulling up in some old Honda. They'll think I'm broke." The kicker here, and this detail matters a lot for what happens later in this story, I put the lease entirely in my name because her credit score was somewhere in the low 500s. Bad credit from maxed out credit cards and unpaid medical bills from before we even met. I added her as an authorized driver on my car insurance policy. I also added her to my phone plan. Unlimited data, unlimited talk, unlimited everything. Top tier Verizon plan. Obviously, she needed the best. And I gave her a supplementary credit card linked to my account for emergencies and household expenses. We agreed on what we both thought was a reasonable monthly spending limit. That was the plan anyway. For about the first year of our relationship, things were actually reasonable and normal. Groceries, utility bills, normal couple expenses, regular household stuff. But somewhere around month 18, the household expenses category slowly morphed into Natalie's personal wardrobe fund and spa budget. $300 facials twice a month. $500 hair appointments every 6 weeks. Designer handbags that cost more than my monthly car payment. Shoes from brands I couldn't even pronounce correctly. Whenever I brought it up, and I absolutely did bring it up because I'm a professional accountant and I notice patterns in spending behavior, she would spin it right back around on me with practiced ease. She had this whole defensive routine absolutely perfected. She'd say things like, I'm building a brand here. You have to spend money to make money in this industry. Why are you being so cheap and petty when you make plenty? This is an investment in our future together. Our future. Like her spending my hard-earned money on lip filler appointments was somehow a joint investment in our shared future. If I pushed back even a little bit, if I showed any resistance or tried to set any boundaries, she'd go completely cold on me. She'd withhold all affection. She'd sleep on the far edge of the bed facing away. She'd give me the silent treatment for days on end. She'd make me feel like some miserly accountant, which I literally was by profession, trying to clip the wings of a beautiful butterfly who just wanted to soar and be free. So like an absolute idiot, like a complete fool in love, I'd apologize to her. I'd be the one apologizing for expressing concerns about my own money. I'd smooth everything over. I'd tell her she was right and I was wrong. I'd pay whatever bill she racked up. I'd increase the spending limit on the supplementary card. I taught her through my repeated actions and responses that her presence, her companionship, her attention and affection were worth more than my labor and money. I taught her that I was lucky to even be with someone like her, and I should be grateful she tolerated my boring concerns about finances. I created an entitled monster with Gucci sunglasses and a sense of superiority that would make actual royalty uncomfortable. The shift from mildly ungrateful to openly hostile happened about 6 months ago. It was gradual at first, then suddenly all at once. She stopped saying thank you altogether for anything. Just completely stopped. I'd hand her my credit card for whatever she wanted, and she'd take it like it was her absolute birthright. No acknowledgement, no gratitude, no appreciation, nothing. She started criticizing absolutely everything about me. My job. It's so boring. You just stare at spreadsheets all day. How do you not fall asleep at your desk? You're basically like a robot. My clothes. You dress like someone's middle-aged dad. You have zero style whatsoever. I'm actually embarrassed to post photos with you on my feed. My hobbies. You have no personality. All you do is work and watch sports on weekends. You're not interesting enough for my content. My followers would be bored. She started treating me less like a romantic partner and more like an employee who was consistently underperforming at his primary job function of funding her entire lifestyle. She'd audibly sigh when I came home from work, like I was interrupting her day. She'd roll her eyes dramatically when I talked about anything from my day. She'd interrupt me constantly mid-sentence to show me something on her phone that was apparently more important than whatever boring thing I was saying. I genuinely felt like I was annoying her just by existing in my own apartment that I paid for every month. The final breaking point came last Tuesday evening. Let me paint you the complete picture here. I had just finished an absolutely brutal 60-hour work week, tax season preparation, multiple demanding client meetings, audit filing deadlines. I was completely mentally and physically fried, running on about 4 hours of sleep per night for 5 straight days. I walked into our apartment at 7:30 in the evening and immediately tripped over a stack of shipping boxes blocking the entryway. Just sitting there, right in the walking path. 4 pairs of designer boots. Brand new. Still in their original boxes with tissue paper. I checked the notification on my phone that had just buzzed in my pocket. A $3,200 charge on the supplementary card. The exact same amount as our monthly rent. For boots. 4 pairs of boots cost the exact same as our monthly housing. My hands were literally shaking. I walked into the living room trying to stay calm. Natalie was stretched out across the entire couch, some green face mask on, scrolling through TikTok videos. She had her feet propped up on my coffee table. There were empty packages from some online boutique scattered around her like confetti. She didn't even glance up when I walked in, didn't acknowledge my presence or existence, just kept mindlessly scrolling and watching videos. "Hey," I said, genuinely trying my absolute best to keep my voice level and calm. "What's with the boots? We talked about trying to keep the credit card spending reasonable this month." She sighed. It was this long, dramatic, exaggerated sound, like I was some toddler asking why the sky is blue. She finally looked up at me with pure annoyance written all over her face. "They were on sale, and I need them for the Aspen trip next month with the girls." "We aren't going to Aspen, Natalie. I'm working during that time." "No, you're working," she corrected me without missing a single beat. "I'm going with Amber and the girls. You're paying for the Airbnb, obviously. Remember? We discussed this weeks ago. We had absolutely not discussed this. Not even remotely close. I am not paying for you and your friends to go to Aspen while I'm here working 60-hour weeks to pay off your designer boot collection," I said firmly. It was honestly the first time in months I had actually put my foot down that hard. The air in the room changed instantly. You could feel it shift. She sat up straight and peeled the face mask off her face. Her eyes went ice cold. This wasn't the usual pouty, manipulative Natalie trying to get her way. This was something way darker and meaner that I hadn't seen before. "Excuse me," she said slowly and deliberately. "You heard me perfectly. The spending stops right now. The trip stops. You need to start actually contributing to this relationship, Natalie. I'm not a walking bank account. If you want to go to Aspen with your friends, get an actual job and pay for it yourself." She laughed. It was this dry, completely humorless sound that sent chills down my spine. She stood up from the couch and walked directly over to me, stopping just inside my personal space bubble. She looked me up and down slowly with absolute pity in her eyes, like I was some pathetic creature. "You really don't get it at all, do you?" she said quietly. "Get what exactly? You think because you pay all the bills around here, you have the power in this relationship." She shook her head slowly and smirked at me. "Money is literally the easy part of this equation. Any boring guy with a college degree can make money at some office job. But this," she gestured dramatically to herself, to her face, her body, her whole physical existence. "This is actually rare. This is special. You're genuinely lucky to even be in the same room with me. My friends ask me constantly why I'm even with someone like you. You're boring. You're way too safe and predictable. You're completely average in every way." I just stood there, completely stunned into silence. My blood was absolutely boiling inside, but my exterior was freezing over into ice. I didn't say a single word. I just stood there and watched her dig her own grave deeper and deeper. She took my complete silence for submission and defeat. She actually stepped even closer and poked me hard in the chest with one perfectly manicured fingernail. "Let's be completely honest here," she said, looking me dead in the eyes without blinking. "You need me way more than I need you. I bring the status to this relationship. I bring the excitement and the life. I bring everything interesting. You just pay for the ticket to ride. So if you don't behave properly and stay in your lane, I will replace you easily." She let that statement hang heavy in the air between us, like a bomb about to detonate. "There are literally 10 guys in my DMs right now who would absolutely kill for the chance to pay for that Aspen trip," she added with a cruel smile. "Remember that next time you want to lecture me about some stupid boots?" I stared at her for what felt like a long moment. I waited for the anger to make me yell and scream. I waited for the urge to fight back, to argue my case, to list out everything I had sacrificed and done for her over the past 3 years. But those feelings didn't come at all. Instead, this strange and eerily calm clarity washed over me like cold water. It was like someone flipped a switch somewhere in the electrical breaker box of my brain. The love I had for her didn't fade away gradually. It evaporated completely and instantly. The attraction didn't slowly wane over time. It turned to absolute dust in about 3 seconds flat. I looked directly at her standing there, and I didn't see my girlfriend anymore. I saw a financial liability. I saw a terrible investment. I saw a squatter living rent-free in my apartment and my entire life. She completely mistook my silence for total defeat and submission. She smirked smugly, patted my cheek condescendingly like I was a child who just got scolded, and turned back toward the couch. I'm ordering sushi for dinner, she threw casually over her shoulder. Don't worry about it. I'll just put it on the card like always. Okay, I said simply. My voice was completely steady and flat, monotone. I walked right past her, went into the bedroom, and quietly closed the door behind me. I didn't sleep at all that night. Not one single minute. I just laid there in the bed, staring up at the ceiling, listening to her laugh loudly on the phone with her friends in the living room. The walls in that apartment were thin enough that I could hear absolutely everything being said. She was clearly on speakerphone, probably Amber and the rest of her enabling friend group. She was telling them the entire story of our argument. I could hear fragments of conversation drifting through. Put him right in his place. He actually tried to tell me no, as if that would work. He'll be totally fine by morning like always. He always caves eventually. Got him wrapped around my finger. Aspen trip is definitely locked in now. They were all laughing together. Actually cackling, really. Like it was the funniest thing in the entire world that I had tried to set a simple boundary. That I had dared to have any say in how my own hard-earned money got spent. Each cruel laugh felt like another nail being hammered into a coffin, but not the coffin of our relationship. That was already dead and buried. This was the coffin of my old self, the doormat version of me who would have apologized profusely by morning and handed over my credit card. She had told me directly to my face that she could replace me easily. She had explicitly stated in absolutely clear terms that our entire relationship was nothing but a transaction, a business arrangement. I pay all the bills. She provides the privilege of her company and presence, the honor of being seen with her in public, her status and her looks. I sat there and thought about it logically, the way a trained accountant thinks about everything in life. If this is truly just a transaction, then I can absolutely terminate the contract whenever I want. If she's a service provider and I'm the paying customer, and I'm completely unsatisfied with the service being provided, then I can cancel the service. I can stop all the automatic payments. I can end the subscription. It's just business. Nothing personal about it. I waited patiently until 2 in the morning, when I was absolutely certain she was fully asleep. I could hear her breathing deeply and evenly from the bedroom. She slept like a baby every single night. Not a care in the entire world. Why would she ever worry? Everything in her life was completely taken care of. Everything was paid for. All she had to do was exist and look pretty, and my money would keep flowing in like a river. I got up as quietly as physically possible and walked silently into the living room on bare feet. Her expensive purse was sitting on the kitchen counter where she always left it every night. Expensive designer bag in cream-colored leather that I had bought her for her birthday 8 months ago. $1,500 before tax. I opened it as quietly as possible, moving very carefully so the metal clasp wouldn't click too loudly and wake her up, and took out the spare key to the Mercedes. The one I paid $780 per month to lease. The one with her name on exactly 0 legal documents. I slipped it into my pocket. Then I sat down at my laptop on the dining room table and opened a completely fresh new spreadsheet. This is what I do when stressed. I'm a professional accountant. This is how my brain naturally works and processes problems. When I'm stressed about something, I make detailed spreadsheets. When I'm angry, I make spreadsheets. When I need to methodically solve a complex problem, I make spreadsheets. Numbers don't lie to you. Numbers don't manipulate your emotions. Numbers just exist as facts. I didn't do any of this out of pure rage or unchecked emotion. I did it with the cold, meticulous, calculated precision of a forensic accountant, carefully dismantling a major fraud case piece by piece. Because that's exactly what this was when you stripped away all the romance and emotions and history. A fraud. She had successfully defrauded me into thinking we were equal partners, when really I was just a convenient funding source with a pulse and a decent salary. I pulled up and created a comprehensive list of every single thing in her entire life that was tied directly to my name. I made organized columns. Item description. Account number. Monthly cost. Total cost to date over our relationship. Cancellation method and steps required. I was absolutely thorough about this. Almost obsessively thorough. The car lease on the Mercedes. $780 monthly. The car insurance policy. $340 monthly because I had added her as a driver, and she had that fender bender last year that wasn't her fault at all, except it completely was. The phone plan. $120 for her individual line. The apartment lease with my name only as primary legal tenant. $3,200 monthly. The American Express card with no set spending limit, but averaging around $2,000 monthly. The Visa card with a $500 limit that she maxed out every single month without fail. The Netflix account with premium tier because she absolutely needed 4 screens simultaneously. The Spotify premium subscription. The Amazon Prime membership with same-day delivery. The Hulu bundle with no ads because she refused to watch commercials. The YouTube premium she claimed she needed for watching videos without interruption. The meal kit delivery service subscription she had ordered exactly once 3 months ago and never bothered to cancel. The fitness app subscription she signed up for and never actually used once. The iCloud storage upgrade for all her photos. The digital magazine subscription she forgot existed. Everything. Every single expense. I added it all up carefully in the total column at the end. The final numbers made me physically nauseous. She was costing me approximately $4,800 per month in direct expenses that I could track. $57,600 annually. That was genuinely more than a lot of people make in an entire year of full-time work. That was someone's complete annual salary. All for someone who had just told me to my face that I was boring and average and completely replaceable, and that she could easily do better by sending a simple DM to one of 10 guys. She said I needed her desperately. She said she could replace me easily and instantly with any of the 10 guys she supposedly had lined up and waiting. I decided in that exact moment at 2:37 in the morning to give her the real opportunity to prove it, to actually prove that she was right about everything, to prove that she genuinely didn't need me at all, to prove that I was as replaceable and average as she claimed repeatedly. I typed out a detailed to-do list for the morning. It was carefully organized by priority level. It was time-stamped with specific windows. It had confirmation checkboxes next to each item. It was going to be an extremely busy day ahead, probably the busiest and most intense day I'd had in years. But it was absolutely going to be worth it. Every penny I was about to spend. Every second I was about to invest. I left the apartment silently at 6:30 in the morning. Natalie rarely woke up before 10 in the morning at the absolute earliest, especially after a night of manifesting her dream future, or scrolling Instagram until 2 a.m., or talking on the phone with her friends about how well-trained and controlled I was. I showered quickly in the guest bathroom, got dressed in my best suit usually reserved only for important client meetings, and packed a single duffel bag with my absolute essentials. Laptop computer, important documents and papers, passport, a week's worth of clothes. I walked out to the parking garage quietly. My modest but reliable sedan was parked right next to the white Mercedes C300 I had leased entirely for her benefit. It looked sleek and pristine under the fluorescent garage lights. I pulled the spare key from my pocket, unlocked it smoothly, and got inside. It smelled exactly like her vanilla perfume and pure entitlement. I didn't steal anything. You can't legally steal your own car. My name was the only name on the lease agreement. I started it up, drove it carefully out of the garage, and headed across town to my office building, which has secure badge access underground parking that requires employee credentials. I parked it in a corner spot on the lowest level, locked it securely, and walked away without looking back. Step 1 complete. Primary asset secured. I went to a coffee shop around the corner from my office building, ordered a plain black coffee, and opened my laptop at a corner table. It was 7:15 in the morning. The systematic administrative carnage began immediately. First up on the list, the credit cards. I logged into my American Express online portal. I navigated to authorized users, found Natalie's name. I clicked the Remove Cardholder button. Are you absolutely sure you want to do this? The screen asked me in a pop-up. Yes, I am more sure about this than anything in my entire life. Status updated to canceled. I did the exact same process for the Visa card. Next on the list, all the digital subscription services. I changed the master password to Netflix. It immediately logged out all connected devices automatically. I did the same exact thing for Spotify, Hulu, and Amazon Prime. Petty behavior? Maybe you could argue that. But she had explicitly said she brought all the life and excitement, and I just paid for the ticket to ride along. I figured she could provide her own entertainment now going forward. Then the phone service. I logged into the Verizon account management portal. I didn't cancel her line immediately because that takes time and requires paperwork and phone calls. Instead, I selected the convenient suspend service option for her specific device only. Reason for suspension? I carefully selected device reported lost or stolen. Effective immediately. Her expensive iPhone was now nothing but a very expensive paperweight. Finally, the absolute nuclear option. The apartment itself. I waited patiently until exactly 9 in the morning when the leasing office officially opened for business. I walked in calmly and sat down directly across from the property manager, A genuinely nice woman named Brenda, who had watched me pay the full rent on time every single month without fail for 2 solid years running. Hey there, everything okay with you? She asked immediately, clearly sensing something was off about this visit. I need to break the lease, Brenda. I said it directly. She looked genuinely surprised and concerned. Oh, wow. You guys still have 6 full months left on your current contract. The early termination penalty is pretty steep, unfortunately. It's 2 full months' rent, plus you completely forfeit the security deposit. 2 months' rent calculated out to $6,400 total. A genuinely large amount of money by any reasonable standard. But compared to the real cost of staying even one more month with someone who genuinely despised me and viewed me as nothing but a walking ATM machine, it was an absolute bargain. I'll write you the check right now, I said clearly. I'm moving out today. I understand that Natalie is still currently in the unit. I'm removing my name from any future renewal options. Since I'm the only one who meets the required 3 times monthly income requirement, I'm guessing she'll need to requalify completely on her own, or vacate within 30 days. Brenda grimaced visibly. She knew Natalie personally. She had seen Natalie around. She knew exactly what Natalie did for a living, which was absolutely nothing productive. Yeah, unfortunately, if you take your name completely off the lease, she has to reapply as a solo applicant. If she can't show adequate proof of steady income, we're required to issue a formal notice to vacate. Are you absolutely sure you want to do this? I have never been more sure of anything in my entire life, I told her honestly. I wrote the check right there at her desk. I signed all the required papers and forms. I was now officially homeless, $6,000 poorer in my bank account, and absolutely free. I went straight to my office, turned off my phone completely, and got to work on actual productive tasks. I actually had genuinely the most productive morning I'd had in months. I worked focused for 3 solid hours without a single interruption, asking me to Venmo someone money for a juice cleanse, or asking what I thought about her latest Instagram caption draft. I turned my phone back on at exactly 11:45. My screen immediately lit up like a slot machine, hitting a massive jackpot. 14 missed calls from Natalie. 22 text messages from Natalie. I didn't read them all, but the preview text visible on my lock screen told the entire story of her morning in perfect chronological order, like a play-by-play. 10:15 a.m. Where is the car? It's completely gone. Did you take it to get washed? 10:28 a.m. Answer me right now. The car is stolen. I'm calling the police. 10:30 a.m. Why is my card being declined? I'm at Starbucks and this is extremely embarrassing. 10:45 a.m. My phone isn't making any calls. I'm on Wi-Fi only. What the heck is happening right now? 11 a.m. I swear if you're doing this because of what I said last night, you're actually psychotic. Then my phone started ringing again. Unknown number displayed. I knew exactly who it was without question. She had borrowed someone else's phone. Probably Amber, her best friend and chief enabler, who conveniently lived in the same apartment complex. I took a deep breath and prepared myself. I didn't feel angry anymore. I felt exactly like a customer service representative handling a difficult client for the very last time. Hello, I answered calmly. Are you completely insane? Her voice was so loud and shrill I actually had to pull the phone away from my ear. She was hyperventilating. Where is my car? Why is my phone completely off? I tried to buy coffee and my card didn't work. I'm standing here with Amber and I look like a complete idiot in front of everyone. Calm down, please, I said. My voice was dangerously low and even. Don't you dare tell me to calm down. You stole my car. I'm calling the cops right now. It's not your car, Natalie. It's my car. My name is the only name on the lease. I repossessed my own property. It's perfectly safe. There was a long, stunned silence on the other end of the line. You took the car. How am I supposed to get to my nail appointment today? Take an Uber, I suggested. Oh, wait. You can't actually. The credit card is canceled too. You canceled the cards? Her voice cracked badly. The anger was rapidly shifting into real fear. Stop this right now. This isn't funny at all. You're punishing me. This is financial abuse. You can't just cut me off like this. I have real needs. You have needs? I repeated slowly and clearly. That's interesting. I thought you said very clearly that I needed you. She stammered badly, trying desperately to recover. I was just mad. I didn't mean it like that at all. You were very specific, Natalie. You said, and I'm quoting your exact words here, let's be honest, you need me more than I need you. You said you bring the status and I just pay for the ticket. You also said, I interrupted firmly, cutting directly through her pathetic excuses, that if I didn't behave properly, you would replace me. Do you remember saying that? Please, I'm sorry, okay? Just turn the phone back on. I need to call my mom. I need to get to my appointment. Stop being such a baby about this. She still didn't understand. She actually genuinely thought this was just a temporary timeout. She thought I was throwing some kind of tantrum and would be back by dinner tonight with flowers and an apology, and everything would magically reset to normal. I'm not being a baby, Natalie. I'm accepting your terms exactly as stated. I realized you were completely right about everything. I was holding you back. You're a prize, remember? You're rare and special. You have 10 different guys in your DMs who want to fund your entire lifestyle. Stop, please. She was crying now. Real tears. Where are you? When are you coming home? I'm not coming home ever. I said it clearly and firmly. I went to the leasing office this morning. I paid the full lease break fee. I'm completely off the contract. You have 30 days to sign a new lease in your own name or vacate the premises. Brenda will be posting the official notice on the door this afternoon. What? It came out as barely a whisper. I can't afford that rent. It's $3,200 a month. I know exactly what it costs. But you said I was boring and average. You said you didn't need me at all. Surely a woman of your high status doesn't need some boring average guy to pay her rent, right? You can't do this to me, she screamed. The mask had completely slipped off finally. The boss babe persona was gone entirely, replaced by a terrified child who just realized the adults had left the room and she was alone. You can't leave me with nothing. What am I supposed to do? I looked out the window of my office. The city looked bright and clear and beautiful. The crushing weight that had been sitting on my chest for months was completely gone. You told me very clearly you would replace me, I said. My voice was flat and final. I'm just giving you a head start on finding that replacement. Please don't do this. Find your replacement, Natalie. I hung up immediately. Then I blocked the number. I blocked Amber's number. I blocked her Instagram, her TikTok, her email address, every single possible avenue of contact. I stared at my phone for a few seconds, waiting for the guilt to arrive and hit me. It never came at all. The silence that followed was the most expensive thing I had ever bought in my entire life, and it was worth every single penny. I spent the next 2 full weeks staying in a long-term hotel while I looked for a new apartment to rent. I expected to feel lonely. I expected to miss her at least a little bit. Instead, I felt like I had just taken off a backpack filled with concrete blocks that I'd been carrying uphill for 2 straight years. My phone battery actually lasted all day because I wasn't getting constant texts asking for money. My credit card statement was almost boring in how low it was. I slept 8 full hours every single night. But the storm wasn't completely over yet. As expected, the flying monkeys arrived right on schedule. 2 days after the breakup, I got a text from Amber, Natalie's best friend and chief enabler. She was the one who had spent years convincing Natalie that she was a high-value woman who deserved to be fully sponsored. I can't believe you, the text read. You left her with nothing. She's at her parents' house crying her eyes out constantly. You're a narcissist and a financial abuser. How can you even sleep at night knowing you completely ruined her life? I looked at the text while eating a steak dinner I had paid for with the money that usually went toward Natalie's hair extensions and lip filler appointments. I didn't get angry. I just replied with pure facts. I didn't ruin her life, Amber. I just stopped paying for it. She told me very clearly that she could replace me easily because I was just a wallet with legs. I'm simply letting her prove herself right. Good luck to both of you. I blocked Amber immediately after hitting send. Over the next few months, the full picture of Natalie's replacement strategy slowly trickled back to me through mutual acquaintances who thought I'd want to know. It was an absolute disaster. Turns out those 10 guys in her DMs were exactly what I thought they were. They were guys who wanted to sleep with her, not guys who wanted to pay a $3,200 monthly lease for her. When she actually reached out to them for real help, they all ghosted completely. The sugar daddy types she thought she could easily land weren't interested in a 27-year-old with baggage and consumer debt. They wanted 21-year-olds with zero expectations and no emotional needs. She couldn't requalify for our old apartment. Of course she couldn't. She was officially evicted at the end of the 30-day notice period. She had to move back in with her parents in the suburbs. A fate genuinely worse than death for someone trying to be a lifestyle influencer. Her Instagram went almost completely quiet. It's pretty hard to post hashtag luxury life content from your childhood bedroom with a faded poster still on the wall. Meanwhile, I actually thrived. I took the money I was saving, about $4,000 every month, and invested it properly. I hit the gym regularly, not to get her back, but to get myself back. I reconnected with friends I had completely neglected because Natalie didn't like them and found them boring. I started dating again very cautiously. I met a woman named Elena. She's a nurse. On our first date, she actually reached for the check. I almost cried right there. I paid, obviously, but the gesture alone healed something deep inside me. 6 months later, I ran into Natalie. It was a random Sunday morning. I was at an upscale grocery store picking up ingredients for a dinner party I was hosting. I turned the corner into the pasta aisle, and there she was. She looked different. Still beautiful genetically. Bone structure doesn't disappear in 6 months. But the shine was completely gone. Her hair wasn't done. She wasn't wearing the designer boots. She was wearing generic sneakers. She looked tired. She was holding a basket with a frozen dinner and store-brand ice cream. She saw me and froze. Then she tried to fix her hair, the old reflex. Hey, she said breathlessly. Hey, Natalie, I said calmly. My heart rate didn't even spike. I felt nothing. No anger, no love, just indifference. You look really good, she said. Thanks. Life's been good. She shifted her weight. I miss you. I've been thinking about us. I just looked at her. I said some crazy things, she continued, stepping closer. I was stressed. I've realized I took you for granted. The guys out there are trash. They don't treat women like you treated me. She touched my arm. Maybe we could get coffee. Catch up. I've grown a lot. I looked at her hand, then her eyes. I saw the calculation. She didn't miss me. She missed the Mercedes. She missed the apartment. She missed the safety. She tried to find her replacement, realized the market crashed, and was circling back. I stepped back. I don't think that's a good idea, Natalie. Her face fell. Why? You're still mad? Come on. We were good together. You need someone who challenges you. I laughed. That's the thing. You were right that night. You said I needed you. Her eyes lit up. See, I knew it. I needed you to show me exactly what I shouldn't tolerate, I corrected. You taught me my value isn't just my bank account. And once I learned that, I realized I didn't need you at all. Her smile vanished. I found my replacement, Natalie. I gestured to my life, my peace, my happiness, and she doesn't cost me my self-respect. I grabbed the pasta. Good luck with the brand. I walked away. I didn't look back. I knew exactly what she looked like standing there, realizing the boring guy she discarded was the only one who'd valued her, and she'd sold him for a fantasy. I paid for my groceries and walked out. My phone buzzed. Elena asking if I needed anything for dinner. I smiled. Just yourself. That's more than enough. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.